Hello everybody, welcome back to another one of these videos. Today we're going to be covering the hashtag variant, and we'll just go and get into it. This one's easier seen. The way this basically works is that each clue has like a subscript, which is just the type of clue it actually is. So this combines a ton of them. And I don't think it'll go over what every type does. I guess maybe it'd be good. We can just I'll briefly explain each one. Vanilla is normal, multiple, all the colored cells count for 2. Liar, everyone is off by 1, so either this 5 is either a 4 or a 6. Wall gives information about each of the continuous groups of minds. So you can see here this one's a 4, 1 because it has a group of 4 and a group of 1. 2, 2, 1 is like that. Negation. The way you can think about it is it gives the difference of minds between the colored and uncolored cells. You can alternatively just think of like the colored cells as being negatives or whatever, and then you just add those together. It gives you the total. And you just take the absolute value for the clue type. Alright. Cross. This one's easily seen. This is just the region that each mind accounts for, or each clue rather accounts for. Partition is similar to wall. The idea is it says it counts the a number of groups around a mind. So like 2, for instance, has 2 groups. They don't necessarily have to have 2 minds in them, though. There could just be 1, 1, or like 2, 3 ones or whatever. And you can it's pretty self-explanatory. The last one is eyesight. This one we covered last time. It just gives basically the total number of cells that a clue can see, where seeing is just orthogonal unmined cells, I guess. And when it hits a mind, the vision stops. This green does a good job of explaining where it can see. Okay, so all these types of clues are mixed together. We can go ahead and start. The 0 wall clue operates normally. A 0 liar clue actually just means there is 1 mind in one of these 2. So like something like that. If there is a mind here, then we know that the remaining minds must be there because of this 5 clue. If there's a mine here, though, then we still know that this one will always be a mine because there used to just be 1 black cell. So we can mark that real quick. The next thing we can consider is that regardless of, we can look at this 2 and 1. We know from this 1 that only at most one of these cells can be mine, right? We also know from this 2 eyesight that both of these can't be non-mines. So that tells us that there's exactly 1 mine here. None of these are mines. And additionally, this 2 can't go out that way because it's then going to be a 3 or more. So there we go. Okay. We can go and get rid of that stuff for now. What we now see is we have a 3-5 multiple pairing. We know that the 5 multiple must have now at least 3 up here. So we can mark that. And we also know it does not have room to have 5 up there. So this 3 can't have 3 of its minds down there. We can then mark that. Okay. And let's show another multiple. Well. Okay. I guess the next thing we can consider here is that we know from this 2 eyesight clue that one of these 2 will be a mine, right? If neither of them are, then it'll be 3 or more. So that tells us for this vanilla clue, this one is not a mine. There we are. Okay. Now, we can I guess, consider each of these cases separately. So first of all, if this one is a mine, then this goes like such. We can also see that this 3 multiple clue is now finished, so we also get all of this information like that. There we are. And that also finishes off this 3 clue. This 2 liar clue is now done. It can only be a 1 at most in this case, and I think that's all the information we'll get. Now then, in the case where it's instead here, then we can mark off both of these. We can also notice that this 3 multiple must have its last one down there, so that this one is still always a non-mine. There we go. You can actually also see that this one up here is just always a mine from the difference between this 3 and this 5. So what that'll then tell us is that for this 3 cross clue, neither of the ones up here can be mines. There we go. And then we know in the red case there must be a mine up there as well to finish off the 2 liar clue. Alright. Now we can consider what each of these cases does for this 6 multiple clue. It only needs, actually, we only know that it only needs 1 more yellow cell, so there we go. And we can see that in the red case we've run into a contradiction here with this 5 multiple where it would have to have its last 2 cells over there. That breaks this 0 liar. So we instead know both of these must be filled in. And from here we can go backwards and, yeah, we'll auto fill in the other deductions we made. There we go. Okay. So the next thing we can consider is this 7 eyesight clue. Well, I guess I don't know how much there is to consider with it right now. Maybe we can think about what happens if we put a mine here, for instance. Then we know it must go 5, 6, 7 over here, but now we can see we've broken the 1 negation clue, where it's always going to be a 2 or higher. So we know this one at least must be a non-mine. There we are. And now we can kind of consider that either both of these are going to be mines or neither of them will. That's just a standard-ish deduction we can make. I don't think that really gives us a lot right now, though, so we'll just continue on without it. See if we can move on from here, rather. Something actually I just realized I haven't been considering is that this 5 multiple clue is already finished. It already has its 4 mines here, so that means the last one must be over there. There we are. 4 eyesight clue is done. So now we know from this 1-1 wall, this one cannot be a mine. And this 7 multiple is also just finished. There's only 7 mines around it. That finishes off this 1-1 wall. This 4 multiple is also done. And for this 2 negation to be completed, we need to put our last mine here. Put it up there, then we're at 0, and then you can only get up to 1 at most. So there we are. This 3 layer clue has 4 mines around it already, so it's also finished. And now I can kind of consider this 7 eyesight clue. If it goes over here, then it's actually now going to be an 8 or higher. So we know that this one cannot be a mine. That means 1 negation clue needs its last one up there. The 7 eyesight clue also needs to go up there to finish. And there we go. We only have 4 mines left, 4 open spaces. Boom, there we are. Alright, we'll now go ahead and do a harder hashtag puzzle. And maybe we'll do it on here for now. Oof, I've already finished up those as well. Okay, we'll do a 7x7 for this as well. These ones are definitely a lot more challenging, so we'll see how I do. Okay. So I guess the first thing we can kind of consider here is that... Well, we know that this 4 layer can't be a 5, because at minimum it can only have 1 cell up here, just from this 0 negation. So that means it needs to have its remaining 4 to make it a 5 around here, but this breaks this partition clue. Right, so that means that this 4 layer is really just a 3 vanilla. I'm not going to write that because it's impossible to really see it once we go off of paint mode, but just recall that that is a 3. Alright, so something else we can kind of consider, I guess. First of all, actually, I'm going to look into what happens if this one here is a mine. Then we know neither of these are. In order to get our partitions correct for this 3, for this clue, we know both of these must be clues. Both these must be mines. The 0 negation now just needs 1 up there and is done. And this 3 partition, this last one needs to be there. That finishes off the 0 liar clue as well, which we can recall those are always 1s. And then for this 4 liar, it must also have 1 up there, because it can only have 1 cell here. It needs to be at least a 3. So there we are. Something else I will look at real quick, because actually that's going to be very fruitful, is if it's possible for this one here to be a non-mine, then all of these are non-mines as well. Then we know there must be 1 in each of these positions, and okay, actually it doesn't look like it breaks things too badly. We kind of get this kind of group. Okay. Well, that is quite alright. Okay. Maybe then I'll instead, I guess, just kind of... Maybe I'll think about this 4 cross clue. So I was kind of trying to avoid it because I don't really like cross clues that much, but this one could also be relevant. So then we know that... first of all, we can see that there are 5 possibilities where this non-mine goes. If it's up here, then we know... Well, we know at least one of these ones, I guess, is a non-mine. I don't think we're going to get a lot out of this, I'm not going to lie. At least not so. Maybe once we get more information, we might. What might be worthwhile to do is consider what happens if this one here is a non-mine. Then we're going to notice that one of these 2 at least must be a mine, just because if neither of them are, then we don't have enough room for 2 groups now. So that tells us neither of these are mines. This one up here must be a mine as well. And, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure this really gives us a lot. I guess this also tells us that the one in the corner here is a non-mine, because there must be at least 1 mine in this region, 1 mine in this region. So, okay. I guess that's something. Okay. I guess maybe now a relevant thing to do will... Oh, well, so that should be if this one was a mine, not if this one was a non-mine. If that's a non-mine, then we don't really get anything from it. I guess we can just kind of continue considering, like, well, actually, no, wait, if this one is a mine, then we get this. Hold on, what was I thinking earlier of saying if this one is a non-mine? I must have thought, I guess, some other deduction, maybe? Not completely sure. That might have just been completely nothing. Okay. If this one is a mine, then we get mines in both of these locations, and yeah, I think we already ran through this one. Yeah, it looks something like this. Okay. Instead now, oh, maybe that was if this, yeah, that was if this one was a non-mine. There we go. Okay. Something else we can kind of think about is if this one is a mine, then we kind of run into the same scenario where we have all of these. And something I'm actually wondering is what happens if this one here is a mine, for instance. Then we get this one as a mine as well. And then we know that, well, I guess there could be a mine at either of these two positions. Yeah, okay, so that means that the mine for this 0 can still be anywhere, even in that case. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not completely really sure where to go yet. Right. Yeah. Because I don't know, I'm not seeing a lot here. Maybe it's relevant to think about what happens if this one here is a mine, for instance. Oh no, actually, what happens if this one here is a mine? I think that this breaks it, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Wait, yeah, because then we get all of this information, but now we don't have enough room for the 3. Okay, there we go. That's something. Yes, and that's going to give us information. This 2 wall tells us this one can't be a mine. There we go. And what we also now know is that since this one will only have... This one's really just a 1 vanilla clue, but, like, I guess reflavored. We know that there can't be a mine here. If there is, then it has to extend out there for the 2 wall, and that breaks it. So, there we go. Okay. And now for this... I guess we can kind of consider what happens if, in each of the possibilities for the wall clue, like this, we know that in the red case there must be a mine down there as well. The blue case, though, there's no mine here, so that means these 3 are mines, and that is not going to work. So, actually, we can just always notice that if this one is a non-mine, then we have broken this 1-1 wall clue. With try to finish up the 3 partition. So we know that one must be a mine. That tells us that we're in exactly this case for the 2 wall, just from the negation combination kind of going into it. And we can also now notice that what can we notice? We gotta stop saying that before I actually thought through what I'm going to say. I guess we can kind of consider what happens if this one right here is a mine, for instance, maybe. No, I'm not completely sure. What happens if this one right here is a mine, first of all? We can consider each of the cases. We then get all of this information. That also tells us this one must be a mine. That one must also be a mine, so there we go. Okay. Maybe something we actually consider is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, no, not really. Nope, that's unfortunate. We can't get it all the way up there yet. What happens if this one is a non-mine? Then we get 2 mines here and here. We can get rid of all of these. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there must be one more around it, but we don't have enough information to actually determine where that one exactly is. Tricky. Well, no, actually, we know that this one up here being a mine breaks the 3 partition, because, yeah. Okay, there we go. That's something we can use. So then we know that for this 2 partition, it's either going to be 1 up there, and then we can kind of work through some of this stuff here. Then we actually get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay, so we know that there can't be a mine up here. Therefore, there must be 1 down there. And this is just going to give us some information, I presume. Okay. The next thing we can consider from here is if there is a mine, I guess, over here, what happens? I don't know if this one will lead us to anything in particular, but maybe it will. We can kind of get all of these deductions just from some of our previous clues. I'm not going through the full logic for it because it's kind of not complex. It's complex to talk through, but like they do properly follow. So there we go. This is what happens if this one over here is a mine. If instead this one is not a mine, then we know, since there's only one mine in this group, there must also be a mine there. So there we are. That tells us both of these are mines. We also now know that we can get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So therefore this one up here must always be a mine. There we are. Now this tells us that in the yellow case, neither of these are mines, which gives us all 4 of these for the 4 cross, and at last we can guarantee this one is mine. That's cool, I guess. We also now know from the 0 negation that neither of these will be mines either, so there we are. Okay. Now, I guess the next thing we can kind of consider is just continuing to look through some of the red, I guess, consequences from this. Okay. Actually, here's something I'm noticing. This is kind of irrelevant to what we've been talking about before. I'm hoping I don't need this marks. I don't think I will. I'm kind of presuming that we're going to get something from over here. If this one is a mine, then we also know this one must be mined by the negation, but then by the wall, we get this one is also a mine, which breaks it. So, there we go. We can mark that. Yep. Now we know there's one partition. Well, actually, that isn't necessarily super useful. It might be. Let's think. So if we put mines in both of these, which we know it's either both or neither from this 0 negation, we get all of these as non-mines. We also get this as a non-mine, so we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. That's too many, so we know that the partition must go right there. There we are. That is just a 2 clue because we only had 2 spaces left, and it's a 3 wire. Now this 2 wall's finished. This 8 eyesign's finished as well. This 1, 2 wall is just already finished. We can kind of finish up all of these clues real quick. This one partition actually means that we must connect up all of these to form one group. I don't think that actually got mentioned in the partition video because it never came up, but yeah, that's a kind of standard thing you sometimes have to do is make large connections on one clues. That's 4 crosses finished. Now we can kind of consider this one negation. We're already at a total of 1 on this negation, just in general, so we then know that it's going to be either both of these or neither. So we can kind of just remember that for the future. Might be useful for like mine count or whatever. Okay. So I guess the next thing we can consider is what happens if there's a mine here. Then we know by this 2 partition it must go up, but you know, in order to finish up, because we already have 2 groups here, we can't have 3. Then that puts our 4 liar at already having 4 mines and must have a 5th, which would have to be there, but that breaks this 1 partition. So we can see this one is not ever a mine. There we go. Now we have a 6 multiple. We know that we must at least include both of these, just because otherwise we don't have enough mines, and that tells us where the partition is for this 1. So there we go. That's the entire thing finished. Now we know from before that it's either 2 or 0 here. 2 is too many, so it must have none. And there we go. Okay, and I don't think they do have hashtag plus ones where here I'll basically, I guess I can do an easier one of these just because it might be good to show a combination. We'll do quad. Basically, that means it's a hashtag puzzle, but it also has to follow quad rules. So, first of all, we know this 2 multiple cannot have ones at either of these positions because it'll create a 2x2 square, regardless of which one you put it in. Yeah, that's just how it is. I don't have a better way to really describe it. Okay. Next thing we can notice is a 1 negation clue here actually operates exactly like a 1 vanilla clue in quad, just because there's only 1, it only has black cells, so it must just operate like a normal 1. Basically, that's just a way of saying that that one is the only mine around it. This 2 multiple clue is then finished. We also know now that, well, no, not necessarily. We can see, though, that there's only going to be 1 more mine over here from this 1-1 wall. This 3 vanilla thus must have its last one there. And we can also see that these ones will only at most extend out to here, because there's only 1, 2 left. There aren't any like 3s or something, so we know this one will never be a mine. There we are. And what we additionally know is, since only 1 of these 2 gray cells will be filled in, we can then determine that for this 2 negation to be accurate, this one must be a mine, this one must not. If it were anything else, like if this one was a mine, for instance, we're at 0 now, and we can only get up to 1 at most. We also now know that this 2 liar is, first we know it has a mine up here, so it must now be a 3. We know that last mine must be somewhere in here because of this square. So we can, I'll just get rid of this atrocious square drawing. And we know that this one basically is a non-mine. 1 negation's finished, so there we go. We know from this 2-2 wall must go at least that far. And something else we know is that this 2-2 wall must at least include, I guess, one mine in both this square and this square right here, right? So then that tells us basically that the that the center of both of those squares, which is this one, must be a mine. So there we go. That one cannot be a mine just because it's 3 away and we don't have enough room for that. So there we go. Now, the next thing we can kind of consider, we can get rid of both these lines, you don't need them right now, is that we know that there's going to be, I guess maybe it'd be better to look at this 3 eyesight. I'm not sure what else I was really going to be looking at this for now. So we know that there must be, in this case, this is a non-mine, and this over here as a mine just because of the 2x2 square we've made. In the other case, we get mines in both of these positions, and that finishes off the 4, which also gives us a mine up here for this 3. There we are, and we can also notice that this one over here is a mine, but this is, I think, unfortunately, more or less everything we can get from that one. So, then maybe it's... I'm not really sure where to go from here for now. Oh, wait, nope, I see it. I am being very silly. I forgot a square. You can see this square right here. This is a 2x2 square that has only one possible mine left it can be put in it, so there we go. That gives us all of this information for free. That 4 vanilla clues finished, this 3 vanilla clues finished, this 5 multiple clues finished. We know the last mine's in one of these 2 squares, so neither of these are mines, and there we go. Finish off the 2 across, and we can finish up the puzzle. So, okay. There we go. That was some hashtag puzzles. I guess next time maybe we'll move on to some of the secret variants. Maybe not. I'm not completely sure what I want to do at this point, because we can either do these or we can do some of the curse, I guess, combinations. I might just do one video for all of these later. Either way, that's something for me to think about and for you all to cry about, to be quite honest. Because I'm probably recording these videos before there's even time for you to even have a chance to put in feedback. Deal with it. Anyway, I'm leaving. Peace.